Okay, here's what I would like you to do, please. Start the class. I just gave you a sheet. At the top of it is a review problem of what we talked about last time, which is graphing lines using the slope and the y-intercept. So if you would please take that equation, solve it for y, and use the slope or y-intercept to go ahead and graph it. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to go ahead and do that review of what we talked about last time. We're doing the top review problem. Okay, so this problem allows us to review a bit of what we talked about last time, which was taking an equation, examining the slope-intercept form, and graphing it. So what we're doing here and reviewing is we're given an equation and we're getting some information from it. So if I'm going to get the slope and if I'm going to get the y-intercept from this equation, what do I have to do to it? You're totally right. Why am I doing that? What's my end result? What is the end result that I want here? I want the equation to be what? Perfect. I want it to be y equals. I want to solve for y. And you correctly gave me the first step. That was beautiful. So what I want to do, and what I'm hoping you did, or I'm hoping it's coming back to your memory now, is I want to solve this for y. And I was already told the first step is I got to move the 5x first. So I'm going to do that. Okay, step number one. This is always step number one. The steps never change. Okay, so once you've done your homework, once you've done a few problems, the steps are never going to change. So on the left side of this, the 5x's cancel. I'm left with negative 2y. Remember, these things right here on the right are not like terms. Do not write 13x because that is not correct. It is 5x plus 8 or 8 plus 5x. I just usually put the variable thing first. That is my habit. What's step 2 to doing the solve for y part to this? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for participating. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And I mentioned to you last time, please do not forget to that negative 2, you have to distribute it. Okay, distributive property applies here. So what is the number, when I distribute the negative 2, what's the number that I'm going to have in front of the x? 5. And what else? I got the 5 in the top, and then, yeah, so a positive divided by a negative, that's just negative 5 over 2. Fantastic. And then times the x. And then what is the number that I put after that going to be? 8 over negative 2. And my calculator tells me that 8 divided by negative 2 is perfect. Thank you very much. Wonderful job. And as somebody has already mentioned, the reason we choose this format, this is called slope-intercept form. The shorthand lingo for it is y equals mx plus b. You don't have to write this if you remember it, because the number in front of the x is always the slope, and the number added on or subtracted is always the y-intercept. So that tells me this line that I asked you to graph, what is the slope of that line?
Negative 5 over 2.
Yes, and you can put the negative with either the top or the bottom, whatever your pleasure is there. So you can put it negative 5 over a positive 2, or you can put it 5 over negative 2. It absolutely does not matter. The only thing that does matter, and I mentioned this last time, is don't put it in both places. And then what's the y-intercept of this line? Yep, 0, negative 4. Now I have all the information that I need to graph. I'm going to go over to my Cartesian plane. I'm going to go down to the y-intercept of negative 4, which is right here. And then from there, using whichever variation of the slope you want, it's all going to be the same line. If you use the negative 5 over 2, the negative 5, that tells you to go where? Down 5, and then the positive 2 tells you to go where? Okay, so I would go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right 2. Or if you chose the 5 over negative 2, this time the 5 tells you to do what? Up. Yep, the top is always the y. So the 5 tells you to go up, and then the negative 2 tells you to go left. Yep, up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then left 2. And then I forgot my protractors today. I apologize. So I've got my driver's license here, which I will not show you the picture. I had more hair then, so that's kind of why. All right, there we go. That's review, please. I'm begging you. Okay, you guys are a 12-week class. I've already given tests in my 16-week class, and I just had to get angry with them today. They're not doing their homework. They're not taking their quizzes, and then you know what? They're not. My tests are just what's on the homework and quizzes. That's it. I'm not super creative. If you're keeping up with the class, you're going to do great. Okay, so please. I'm trying to make this as straightforward as I possibly can because I want everybody to be successful. Okay? It does not give me any sort of happiness when somebody is not successful in my class. Okay, so we're going to continue on the sheet now. We're going to talk about today's. I printed out these sheets just so that you would have less writing to do and we could do a couple more examples than we normally do. What we're going to do now in section 2.3 is we're going to reverse the process. Instead of being given an equation and being asked, what is the information I need to graph? Now we're going to be given information and we're going to be asked, what is the equation that describes this information? Okay, the first couple of examples, nice and super straightforward to get us into this. So example one, okay, if you're looking at the sheet, if you're watching the video, if you're not here today, the PDF of this sheet is right below, printed out, right on it. So the first example says, write the equation of the line with these characteristics. Okay. We're told the slope is -3/5. You don't have to write this down in your paper. It's already written there. I'm just putting it on the boards for anybody watching the video. And then the y-intercept is 0, 10. Well, this first one, this is the exact information we just used to graph, right? When we did that graph that's not on your page now, we took the slope-intercept form and we found the slope and the intercept, right? So this nice straightforward problem just to get us involved in writing equations. Okay, so if I'm going to write the equation of the line, it's going to start off y equals. What number is going to go in front of the x? The slope, the -3/5. Yes, -3/5x. And then what number is going to go after that? Yeah, positive or -10? Positive. It's positive right there. So plus 10. There you go. You're done. Woohoo! That's fun. It's going to be one of those on the test when you have it. Okay, I want you to get that problem right. Okay, because it's nice and straightforward. All you have to do is remember the slope-intercept form of the equation. So what I would like you to do, please, is right below that is one for you. Exercise 1. Same sort of thing. I give you the slope, I give you the y-intercept, and ask you, what's the equation? So this is going to be y equals what? Okay, perfect. That's fine. I'm just going to write the 5 though, because when the 1's in the bottom, it's assumed to be 5. But if you wrote 5/1, that's totally great. Okay, so it's going to be 5, what? X, yes. Then what? Outstanding. There you go. That's the equation. One more, same sort of thing right below it. Exercise 2. Y equals, what's my first term? -1/2. Perfect. I just didn't hear it in the second first time. I apologize. And then what's the other term? Yep. Excellent. There you go. So far away, so good. Doing all right. You're given the slope and the intercept. You just plug them into the slope-intercept form of the equation. You've got your equation. Okay. The purpose of these problems is just to see, are you understanding what the slope-intercept form, what the information is, and where it's located? That's nice one. All right, so now, what happens if different information is given? So notice the next problem, which is labeled example 2. Example 2 says, write the equation of the line in standard form. I will explain what that means in a moment. I'm not worried about it just yet. We're going to write the equation of the line in standard form with slope 1/2, but now I'm not given the y-intercept, I'm given a point. I'm given a different point that it goes through, 5, 7. So since I'm not given the slope and the y-intercept, I need a different tool to work with. And so that is the following. Okay, so there's 2 bits of trivia that you have to remember for this test. Again, I try to keep it at a minimum. I guess there's 3 bits of trivia. You got to remember how to calculate slope, difference in y's over difference in x's. You need to know the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And then this third thing right here. And the third thing, this is called, remember, math people are super creative at labeling things. Okay, this is called the point slope equation. It's called point slope equation because you need two things. You need a point and you need slope. So on this first problem and the first problem you're going to do, that's exactly what we're given, point and the slope. So the first problem for each of us is going to be plug and chug. So here's the point slope equation. It goes like this. On the left side, I've got y, that's my variable y, minus y with a little 1. That's going to be the point, the y value of the point. So if you need to make a little note for yourself, I will do it right here. This is the y value of the point. Equals m, that's the slope, we know that. We've seen that before. And in parentheses, I'm going to have x minus x with a little 1. And the x with a little 1, that's the x value of the point. I'll also label the slope just in case. I don't want anybody concerned or lost about where the different information goes. Just like with the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, m always stands for the slope. Well, unless you're in physics, then it's the mass, but this isn't physics class, m is the slope. All right, so we're going to use this equation. Example 2 is just a nice way to get used to using this equation. I'm going to put a problem just like example 2 on the test. And there's problems just like example 2 on your homework. Okay, this class is fairly simple. Okay, I'm just concerned because I gave a test and I'm freaking out a little bit. I do examples in class, and then you do the same sort of things on your homework, and then you know what I do? I put the same sort of things on the test. Okay, so if you're awake, if you're doing the problems, there's no mysteries in this class. Okay, I just want to make sure you feel nice and confident when that day comes, which is going to be next week when you have your first test. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do example number 2. Oh, yeah. Example 2 says, write the equation of the line in standard form. Again, I haven't told you what that means. With a slope of 1/2, and then it goes through the point 5, 7. Okay, the purpose of this problem, again, is just to help us remember the point slope equation. So it's plug and chug. I've got all the information I need. I've got a point, I've got a slope. I can use the point slope equation. Let's do it. So I've got y minus, what am I going to subtract? The y value of the point, 7. Yes, indeed. Equals. Okay, I'm going to put the slope, 1/2. Yes, parentheses. And then x minus what? Great. We're not done. I just want to tell you the 2 possible things that you're going to see on your homework. Okay, and I picked to put it in standard form so I could show you that. So there's going to be 2 things you're asked to do when you go through the homework. Thing number 1, they might say, put this in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we're just going to make a little note so that you can follow this along. We're going to do a couple of each problems in here so that you get experience with both. Okay. So if they want slope-intercept form, here are the 2 things you're going to do. It's 2 steps. Step number 1, you're going to distribute. Got to get rid of those parentheses. That would be step number 1. And then step number 2 is get the y by itself. Meaning, I would move the 7 and you'll be done. Our last couple problems, we will do slope-intercept form. Okay, so you're going to get your chance to do that. If standard form, like this problem that I just asked you to do. Well, before I tell you how to do that, and again, it's just 2 steps. I need to tell you what standard form is. Standard form is, in fact, you're already looking at it. The way that first problem was written, that little warm-up problem that says negative 5x minus 2y equals 8, that's standard form. Standard form is the x's and y's are on one side, the number is on the other. And so if you were reading along with the book, if you use the book that's in my math lab, standard form looks like this. AX, A is just any number, plus BY, B is any number, equals C. For example, just going to rewrite that problem at the top of your page. Negative 5x minus 2y equals 8. That's standard form. There's 2 steps, and we're going to do those 2 steps right here. Step number 1, we talked about our very first day together when you didn't even know who I was. The first thing is we're going to clear the fraction, if there is one. Step 2, then we're going to distribute, just like we did. And I guess there is a third step, sorry. We're going to clear the fraction, we're going to distribute. Then the final thing we're going to do is we're going to put the x's and y's on the same side and the numbers on the other. So you're going to put the x's and y on the same side. Once you've done it a couple times, I don't think it's too big of a deal. But if it is, let me know. We'll practice. Okay, now that I've had you write all that down, let's go back to this problem. What's the fraction in this problem? So what's the common denominator? If the fraction is 1/2, what's the common denominator of this problem? Yes, the only denominator. Exactly, 2. So what I'm going to do, this, if you remember, I know it was a while ago, I guess last week, a while ago, we talked about clearing the fractions to solve things, and we said we multiply every term by the common denominator. So we're just going to do that same thing. So I'm going to multiply every term by 2 to clear the fraction. So I'm going to multiply the y by 2, I'm going to multiply the 7 by 2, and now all of this is multiplied together, so it's all one term. Okay, there's not a whole bunch of individual stuff, so I just need to multiply that by 2, which is going to be 2 over 1. Once you've done 1 or 2 of these, you've done all of them. It's always the same exact steps. So 2 times y is 2y. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. What happens with 2 times a half? What happens to the 2's when you have 2 times a half? What's that? Would be whole. It would be the 2's cancel, and you're left with 1. Yep, 1 whole. That's exactly right. 2 halves make a whole. Now I wrote it here just because I didn't want to skip any steps. You could have left this off because what's 1 times anything? It's that thing. So I've got 2y minus 14. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. And now we're ready to be finished with the problem. We're almost done. I'm going to put the x's on the same side. I'm going to put the x and the y on the same side, and I'm going to put the numbers on the other side. So how do I get this x right here? How do I get it over there? Okay. And how am I going to get this 14 over to here? I'm hearing 1 or 2 voices, and I'm real happy with the answers I'm getting. And maybe the others of you are really tired, and maybe just don't feel like talking because you got the mask on. But please don't be sitting there watching if you're not following along. Okay, it does nobody any good. We subtracted the x because this is a positive x. We added the 14 because that's a negative 14 to move the stuff around. It's just solving. It's just what we talked about in the last chapter 1. So here's what I've got. I've got negative x, positive 2y. My 14s cancel. My equal sign stays in the middle. And then I've got negative 5 plus 14 is positive 9. And there you go. You've done it. You've put your equation in standard form.
Now, I'll get to your question in just 1 minute. Before I do that, this is standard form. This is glorious. It's perfect. You've done a great job. If you get that on the test, I want you to keep it. I got one little note. Students in my 16-week class have told me about my math lab, and I don't know why my math lab's doing this. So my math lab wants the X to be positive. I don't know why. They want the X to be positive. So all you have to do is if you get your final answer on your paper that you're working on and you get an X is negative like this, all you've got to do, I'm going to write this is for my math lab. This is not for me on the test. Okay? This is just for, I don't want you to get the problem wrong when you've done it right. Okay, for my math lab, all you're going to do then is just change all the signs. Change the negative X to a positive X. Change the positive 2i to a negative 2i. Change the positive 9 to a negative 9. Those equations are exactly the same. I don't know why my math lab does that, but that's what they want. Okay. They want the X positive. But like I said, I'm reiterating, when you get this on the test, when I put a problem like this, keep it. You're done. No extra steps. Okay, what I would like you to do, again, in an effort to just get familiar with our point slope form that we use right there. Exercise 3, the very bottom of the front of your page, is the same 2 bits of information. It's a slope and a point, and you got to use the point slope form in order to write the equation. I'm going to start substituting information. If you missed a step, if you got something different, speak up. Let's talk about it. We're going to do one more of these to get used to this form of the equation and putting it in standard form because I want you to be able to do that. And again, I'm going to put one of these on the test, so it's in your future. So here we go. Here is my point slope form. So it's going to be y minus the y value, which is 3. Then my slope is 3 over 4. X minus the x value. What is the x value? It's -1. What do I get when I'm expecting that some of you, this slipped by the goalie, and I understand, when you subtract a -1, what do you have? +1. When you subtract a -1, you get a +1. So make a little note to yourself. If you missed that, that's totally okay. We're learning here. If you missed that, make a little note, put a little asterisk in your notes and say, that's a positive because I subtracted a -1. Subtracting a negative, two negatives make a positive. Once you get by that though, I asked for standard form. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear the fractions. What number am I going to multiply all my terms by to clear the fractions? 4, that's the common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the y by 4. I'm going to multiply the -3 by 4. And then again, this is all one term because it's multiplied together. So I'm going to multiply by 4. You do not have to multiply inside the parentheses by 4. Also, this is all one term. Just need one 4. My first term becomes 4y. My second term, 4 times -3 is -12. What happens here between the 4 and the 3/4? What happens to the 4s? They cancel out. That's well said. And so I get 3 times x plus 1. Distribute that 3 that's left over. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. And then the last thing is I'm just rearranging the terms. I'm going to put the x and the y on the same side of this. I'm going to put all the plain old numbers on the other side. That's standard form. So to get the 3x, how am I going to get the 3x over to the left side of this equation? How am I going to get this 12 that doesn't have an x or a y? How am I going to get the 12 over to the right side of the equation? Yes, sir. So I have -3x. I've got plus 4y. The 12s cancel. My equal sign stays in the middle. And then 3 and 12 on the other side is 15. There's my answer. It's in standard form. If you change the signs because of the My Math Lab thing, then you're staring at positive 3x, -4y, and -15. Both of those answers are right answers. Not one is not better than the other, despite what My Math Lab leads you to believe. This is tough stuff. I know. You're learning new stuff. I get it. That's why we're doing another example. Okay, so flip the page, exercise 4. Again, it's just the same thing again, so that you can get used to going through these steps. Once you can do these problems right here, there's nothing, everything else is just using information we already have. This is the new bit for the day. No, I'm sorry. I had a question earlier, and I said I'd get to it, and then I'm not a smart person. What was the question earlier? I did? Yeah. I'm amazing. If I ever do that again, though, don't be afraid to remind me. I'm just forgetful. So I'm old, short-term memory's going. All right, I'm going to get started on this. If you're still working, keep working. We'll compare notes at the end. So here is my point slope form. This is what we're going to be practicing. We're going to practice it in the next problem as well. Okay, we're using this for the rest of this section for about another 25 minutes. So we have y minus the y value. The y value is -6. So what do I get when I have y minus -6? That's what? Positive 6, yes. And we subtract a negative number. Subtracting a negative, two negatives make a positive, y plus 6. Then I have my slope is -2/5. And then I have x minus 3. What's the number I'm going to multiply everything by to clear the fractions? 5. In fact, the nice thing about these problems, when you got to clear the fraction, there's only one fraction usually. In fact, in any problem you do for me, I'm not going to give you fractional x's and y's. Okay? I'm not trying to create turmoil in your life. Just want to see, can you use this? So I'm going to multiply everything by 5. So I multiply the first term by 5, the second term by 5. And remember, all of this is one term because it's multiplied together. So I'm going to multiply it by 5. Squeeze a little 5 in there. So 5 times y is 5y. 5 times 6 is 30. The 5's cancel, and I'm left with -2, x minus 3. Whoops, not x minus 6, x minus 3. I'm going to distribute, and then I'm going to get my x and y on the same side. Notice, once you get used to it, I know it's difficult, I know it's awkward, we're doing something brand new, but once you get used to it, it's the same steps every time. It doesn't differ. So I'm going to distribute, so I've got 5y plus 30. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -3 is plus 6. And then I'm going to put the x over there with the y. I'm going to put the 30 over there with the 6. And then I'm going to be done. So this, how am I going to get this -2x over to the left side of the problem? How's the 30 going to get over to the right side of the problem? Indeed, great answers. I appreciate it. And then 2x, and I've got plus 5y, and then the 30's cancel. My equal sign stays in the middle, and 6 minus 30 is -24, and we're done with the problem. Before I press on, we're just going to use this equation again. Is there a question? Is there anything that's remaining unclear? So you look at the next problem, example 3. Example 3 asks us to write the equation of the line in standard form. It's the same sort of thing, but this problem is just going to add on one extra step of something we already know how to do. So it's going to be a review step. And then it's going to be doing this exact same thing again. So the next one says, I want to write the equation of the line I want to write the equation of the line that goes through -4, 3. And 5, -7. So I'm writing the equation of the line. I need to use my point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m. X minus x1. Okay. Remind me, what two things do I need to plug in here? I need a, what's that? Slope, and I need a point. Okay, that's why it's called the point slope form. I need a point and I need a slope. Am I given a point? I'm given 2. I got a choice. Am I given the slope though? No. But think back to last time. Can I find the slope? Okay, so this is the same problem we just did with the extra step of I have to find the slope. So this gives us a chance to review finding the slope, which is fine. That's great. So I'm going to come over here on the side. The first thing I have to do is I have to find the slope. And once I have that, the problem is exactly the same thing we just did right there. To find the slope, what do I do in the numerator to find the slope? Y2 minus Y1. Thinking back to last time, does it matter which one of these points I make Y2 and which one I make Y1? No, what's the only thing? Here's the bonus points. What's the only thing that does matter? If I pick this as Y2, what has to be true in the denominator? That has to be X2. You just have to be consistent. It doesn't matter which way you go, it just have to be consistent. So I'm going to use the -7. I have no reason, there's no secrets. If I had a secret, I tell you all of my secrets. I'm just going to use this as Y2 minus Y1. So I'm going to have -7 minus 3. Hey, Perkster, could I have done 3 minus -7? Yes, indeed. Okay, totally fine. Your denominator will just be the reverse of mine. So I've done -7 minus 3 in the top. So what do I have to do? I have no choice now. What do I have to do in the bottom? Perfect. 5 minus -4. Remember, the minus sign is the slope formula. The negative is the -4 in the x value. Okay, you need both. So -7 minus 3, that's -10. 5 minus -4, that's 5 plus 4, that's 9. There's my slope. That's the extra step. You can do this problem right here. You can do anything. Okay, it's probably the hardest problem, in my opinion, that we go through in this whole first unit. You've got to remember a whole bunch of things. So now I've got my slope. I've got 2 points. I'm going to pick my favorite, and I'm ready. So it does not matter. We need a point and a slope. It absolutely does not matter which one of these you pick. They're both on the line. If you want to challenge me on that, you can pick the other point that I use, and we'll see and compare. We should have the exact same equation at the very end. I'm just going to pick this one. Again, I have no secret reason to do that. It's just the closest one. I've had to reach too far to get to the other one. Okay, so there's no secret reason. If I ever have a secret for something, I will promise I will tell you that secret. Here goes. So y minus 3, -10/9, x minus -4, so that becomes x plus 4. I'm just going to reiterate, because I want you super clear when you leave here. Could I have used the 5 -7? Yes. Then what you would have is y plus 7 is equal to -10/9, x minus 5. Okay, it will work. You'll get the exact same thing. Okay, if you're doing it in my math lab, it'll be fine. Does not matter. And now the rest of this, we've done this. This is the 4th one we've done. It's the same steps. So I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit so that you can do your problem. The new step here was finding the slope. I'm gonna multiply everything by 9 to clear the fraction. So 9 times y, 9 times that, 9 times the fraction. 9 times y is 9y. 9 times -3 is -27. With the fraction, the 9's cancel, and I have -10. And then I have x plus 4. -10 times x is -10x. -10 times 4 is -40. And we're just about done. We just got the rearranging of the terms left to do, and then I can wave goodbye to this problem. So I'm going to bring the 10x over to the left. I am positive if I ask, you would tell me that I'm going to add it. I'm going to put the 27 over there. I'm going to add that as well, because both of those are negative. And here's my final answer in standard form. I've got 10x plus 9y equals -40 plus 27, -13. After exercise 5, the last couple of examples, they're actually, I think, a little easier, so it's a little bit of a cool down. So exercise 5, do the same thing. I've given you 2 points. I would like you to tell me what the equation of the line is in standard form. Yes? Of course, yes. You don't have to ask me that. You can always feel free. you're looking at the problem and you don't know where to start, what is the bit of information that I need that I'm not given that I have to find? I got to find the slope. So you should be finding the slope right now as your first step. Question? Just want to make sure I wasn't ignoring anybody. I'm going to get started finding the slope. Keep working if you're working. I know you're probably not done with the whole problem yet, but I just want to make sure that we're all working with the same thing here. So I'm going to just quietly do this. You can check your work with mine. So I calculated the slope. I use this as my second point, but again, remember, it doesn't matter. No matter what, you should have the exact same sign and everything answer. So -4 minus 5 was my difference in the y's. 1 minus -2 is my difference between the x's. Yes. You can still use the fraction and you'll end up in the right place, but it's going to make it a lot easier when I plug it in over here. If you just go ahead and divide it out, then you won't have a fraction to clear when we come over here. That would be the biggest benefit. All right, so then -9/3 divides out to be -3. So yeah, as the question was asked, you can work with the -9/3. It's fine. You'll end up in the same place I end up, but I'm going ahead and reducing the fraction. So now I have y minus, now again, I should have probably declared what point we should use, but it's okay. We will all have the exact same equation. I'm going to use this first point. Again, I have no secret reason for picking that. It's just the closest one to me. So y minus 5 is equal to the slope, which is -3, x minus -2, so that's x plus 2. Well, the gift on this problem is I don't have a fraction to clear. So I saved that step. It saves me a little bit of time. So I have y minus 5, -3x, -6. I'm going to put my x over on the left by adding the 3x. I'm going to put all my numbers on the right by adding the 5. And you get 3x plus y is equal to -6 plus 5 is -1. There's my equation. All right, I've got one more problem I'm going to do in this section, and then I'm probably just going to have you do one more problem as well so that we have adequate time. The last section of this unit is nice and short. Again, there's only one new bit of information, and we're going to be reviewing something we already know how to do in that. So my last example is this example 4. Example 4. Again, we're using the same thing, the point slope form, but this time we're given slightly different information. We're told that the line we want goes through 6, -3, and it's parallel to and the line it's parallel to is 2x plus 3y equals 6. So again, my point slope form. I need a point. I need a slope. Am I given a point in this problem? Yes, it's right here. Great. Half the information I need, I think. Am I just given outright a slope? No. But I'm told it's parallel. And we talked about this last time, very end. If this line here that I'm going to create is parallel to this, that means they have what? How do their slopes compare? Parallel lines have what kind of slopes? Say it like you mean it. Somebody said it. The same, yes, they have equal slopes. Perfect. Okay, they're the same. So remember, we mentioned this last time. Parallel means equal slopes. That's our clue for this problem. Okay, equal slopes. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this equation. I'm going to find the slope, and then I'll have my point. Then I'll have my slope. Also notice in this problem, at long last, instead of standard form, I asked for slope-intercept form. So that will be lovely for us as well. Okay, so here we go. 2x plus 3y equals 6. So I'm going to subtract the 2x. This is just like the review problem we did at the top of the hour. So I've got 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I get y is negative 2 over 3x plus 6. Given that, what is the slope of this line right here? Yes, thank you. Glad you guys are awake. Sorry, I was just so excited to get to the slope. You know, sometimes I just look ahead. Yes, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Sorry about that. So, since you guys were distracted by my poor arithmetic, what's the slope of the line? Yes, still negative 2 over 3. Thank you. So since I said parallel, there's the key word. Since I said parallel, what slope am I going to plug into here? All right, here goes. So I've got y minus negative 3. So y minus negative 3 is y plus 3. The slope is negative 2 over 3. X minus 6. This time, I did not ask for standard form. I said, let's go to slope-intercept form. So if you flip back a couple pages in your notes, I told you the 2 steps. The 2 steps are I'm going to distribute, and then I'm going to bring the 3 over. Okay, so a little bit different steps because I will ask for the other format that we've already looked at. So when I distribute, negative 2/3 times x is negative 2/3 x. Negative 2/3 times negative 6, and negative times a negative is positive. And I know that we don't absolutely love fractions. I get it. I'm with you. Let me come over to my scrap paper. 2/3 times 6, which I'm going to write 6 over 1. Multiplying fractions is the what I would say is the simplest of all the operations. You just go tops and bottoms. So 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. And then your calculator will tell you 12 divided by 3 is what? And last but not least, I'm going to subtract 3. And we get y is equal to negative 2/3 x. 4 minus 3 is 1. In just a moment, I'm going to have you do exercise 7. But before we get to exercise 7, I just want you to tell me one thing about exercise 6. We're not going to do exercise 6. It's essentially the same problem with one word different. Exercise 6 has the word perpendicular in it instead of parallel. Exercise 6 has perpendicular. You can circle that word. It's the key word in that problem in exercise 6. So since the word is perpendicular, it's the same. Everything else is the same. Same point, same equation. It's just perpendicular. Here's the equation of the line that I was given. This is review last time. What's the slope of the perpendicular line? How do I find that? We've got to do the negative and the reciprocal. So I've got to change the sign from negative to positive. And then yes, we flip it and it becomes 3/2. It's the negative reciprocal. So the only difference in number 6, if you were doing it, and if you want to do it later, and you can email me and say, is this the answer, Perkster? You're going to do the same thing, but you're going to use a slope of 3/2 because it's perpendicular. So how we're going to finish out this section, exercise 7. Exercise 7 gives you a point, it gives you a line, it says what's the equation of the line parallel. Okay, so here we go. Let's round this out. So I am asked to find the equation of the line that goes through this point in parallel. Once again, the last time I'll say it, unless you rewatch the video, when we use the point slope form, which we've used for every problem, except when we're given the slope and y-intercept, we've used this every problem. I need a point, I need a slope. I'm given the point, that's great. I need to find out what I'm plugging in for m. And the key here again is parallel. It's parallel to that line. So I'm going to find the slope of that line right there. So I'm going to solve it for y by subtracting 3x. And I get y is equal to negative 3x plus 5. There's nothing to divide by in front of the y. I kind of had mercy on you on this problem. What is the slope of this line? That is indeed true, negative 3. So since I am parallel, I am using that slope. Y minus negative 1. Y minus negative 1 is y plus 1. My slope is negative 3. X minus 9. I believe I asked for slope-intercept form. So the 2 steps for slope-intercept form is I got to get rid of these parentheses. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 9 is plus 27. And then I'm going to bring the 1 over. Solve it for y. Slope-intercept form is always solved for y. 27 minus 1 is 26.